Hello and welcome back to Oracle TV's Halloween special. We're here broadcasting live from Highgate in North London, in the middle of Highgate Woods, the ancient Middlesex forest. And you're going to be finding out a little bit more about this wonderful forest that we're living in here a little bit later on in a film called The Witch's Coven. So do stay tuned. I'm joined by my fourth guest of the evening, the incredible international psychic medium, healer, rebirther, past life regressionist, Julie Cook. Hi Julie, welcome to the show.
Carrie.
Now you are so busy, aren't you? The fact that you travel in between Hong Kong and London and you work outside London as well.
Yeah.
Tell the viewers a little bit about the kind of work that you do for people.
Well, I'm a psychic medium, so I do readings for people. I speak to people when they've passed over. I get a lot of spirit come in for people. I read kind of past, present, future for people.
Yeah.
Help them to sort out what's going on. We find out what's going on now, why it's going on, where it comes from in the past, what they can do about it. Yeah, work for people like that.
And you've just worked at the Mind, Body, Soul experience in our
did,
Alexandra Palace. And fortunately, we're right opposite us. You were absolutely packed out for 3 whole days, weren't you?
It was really
How was
busy.
it working with that energy?
I love it. I love the fairs. I love being at the fairs. I love seeing the people, the amount of people that we meet there. And, everybody that goes there is going there seeking something. So it's a really nice atmosphere to be in.
Yeah.
It's a good atmosphere to be around. And that was right opposite you. Great place to be.
It was fun, wasn't it? We had so much fun, yeah.
It was really good, yeah.
Now, also, because you travel and you work in Hong Kong as well, I mean, how is it going in between the two cultures, the two very different parts of the world? I mean, do people have different questions, different kinds of lifestyles that
they
need
do.
guidance?
I mean,
then?
everybody's... Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no.
Everybody does. Yeah, everybody has different questions. Every client that you see will have different things that they're coming to. As you know, you've done readings as well. But yeah, culturally, they are different in Hong Kong. I find a lot there, it's more kind of business, and they're looking at their careers and all of that kind of thing. In this country and in Europe in general, people tend to be, they're interested in their careers and things, but they're also very interested in romance and all of that kind of thing.
Yeah, more relationship focused. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what does Samhain, Halloween represent to you? I mean,
So,
we're at that time, aren't we? You already work as a medium.
Yeah.
You pick up on spirit. But we've got Halloween, Samhain in 2 days. The energies are very strong. We've had the fair followed by a huge supermoon, full moon, just a couple of days ago. What's it been like for you from where you're standing, working psychically there?
Yeah, for me now it's a wonderful time of year. I mean, I've always loved this time of year. I love autumn anyway. And Samhain is just, there's a magic in the air. You can feel it. It's like an electricity that's in the air. And I felt it since I was a small child. I didn't know about Samhain then. I didn't know, what that was. But I intuitively knew that there was a magic in the air, that it was beautiful. And I still get it now. And it lasts around about this time, and especially at twilight. I feel it at twilight. It's just incredible, the energy that's in the air. And, the veil between the worlds is the thinnest now.
So it makes your job easier, really, doesn't it?
It does. It really does, yeah. Yeah.
But there's a kind of a fae energy about you as well, isn't there? There's a kind of a lightness, a fae, otherworldliness about you.
Is there?
Yeah, and I
That's nice.
and I can feel that coming through as you speak. But you come from Wales, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, so we've had all the Celts today. We've had the Irish, we've had the Scottish, and now we've got the Welsh as well. So tell me a little bit about what you feel towards the Celtic goddesses, the energies that come from the land that you were born in.
Oh, it's just, it's something that's inborn. It's in Wales. Wales is a very magical place, and I've always been very interested in all of that. I used to see the fairies when I was little. I used to see spirit as well, and I used to see the fairies. The fairies I loved, and I really saw them. And I used to tell people that I used to chat to the fairies and that, and they thought I was mad. I mean, I was listening to Tracy earlier, And she's got a Welsh father and an Irish mother, and I've got a Welsh father and an Irish mother as well, you know. And I was brought up in an Irish Catholic home as well, and you know, it was very kind of, I would be seeing these things. I mean, my mother had a pelmet in our bedroom, which I used to lay on my mother's bed and look up at this pelmet, and I used to have a little village of fairies living in the pelmet.
Oh, how wonderful.
And years later, when I was looking at kind of magical traditions and things, I saw that the fairies and the elves, the otherworldly beings, they live in the tween places, you know. So the pelmet was a tween place.
Yes, it was.
You know, between the outside and inside.
Yeah, because it's actually an actual place, but none of the humans would have acknowledged it as a place that would be worth acknowledging.
Yeah, but it was, so I've always felt very kind of close to that kind of the fae and, you know, all of that energy. I love that.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And do you go back to that part of the world very often? I mean, I think you spent some time in Bath and Glastonbury, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, I lived in Glastonbury for 10 years, and I lived in Bath for 9 years. Both of those places as well are incredibly beautiful, and they're both full of traditions. You know, like Bath was a very, very sacred place to the Celts, and then the Romans came, and they kind of incorporated with Minerva and Sul. Sul was the goddess in Bath, and then Sul became Minerva Sulis when the Romans came. And the Roman baths in Bath are just a magical place. You know, there's a certain spot in the Roman baths which is where the water comes out, and it's like a sacred spring. And I just used to go down there, because when you live in Bath, you get these little passes where you can go into the...
Really?
Yeah, you can go into the baths and the museums and things like that, if you live there.
Oh, wow.
So I used to go in more or less every day. I used to go in and just stand by the sacred spring and watch it come out and just get the energy from that, you know, and I find a great deal of strength from that.
Oh,
and
that's beautiful.
Yeah, Glastonbury as well. I mean,
I was going to say, what's the contrast there between this ancient stillness of this unfettered energy from the past, but then you come to Glastonbury?
Yeah.
Wow, how did you find that? Because
Glastonbury's an amazing place. It was an ancient school, you know. It was when a lot of people learnt things there. You know, the priestesses and druids were trained there, and it still is very much a school. You know, although it's unconscious now, you go there and you learn. You know, for me, when I went to Glastonbury, I was 28, I think, when I went there. And I was just going into my Saturn return, and it was a crazy time for me personally. And you know, when I got to Glastonbury, it was kind of, I had a lot of masks. You know, all the masks that we wear when we go about our daily lives and things like that. I was kind of hiding behind a lot of things. They got ripped off really quickly.
Oh my goodness!
Got taken off. And you know, when I went to Glastonbury, I just really kind of found out about the goddess and, you know, women's spirituality and the earth, and I was just looking into all of that kind of stuff around, you know, paganism, and I thought, I'll go to Avalon. I'll go home to the goddess.
Yeah.
You know, and I thought I was going to have a really lovely, relaxing
be all
time
nice and fluffy and float away on the lovely rivers of Avalon. You know, no.
Be in the arms of the goddess. No, not at all.
No.
It was initiation by fire.
Oh, my
really
word.
Was, yeah. But it was incredible, absolutely incredible for me living in Glastonbury. It all my changes happened in Glastonbury. You know, major changes in my life. It just, my eyes were opened, my world opened up, really.
And yet, during that time of transformation, after that 10 years, that's a very intense place to be energetically, isn't it? You didn't then think, well, I'll just go back to somewhere a bit calmer, like Bath or somewhere in the country. You went straight from Glastonbury to London.
Yes. Yeah.
And had you ever lived in London before?
Yeah, well, I ran away from home at 14 and I came
14?
to London. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I came to London to live then.
Yeah.
And I was here for 12 years then until my daughter was born. And that's kind of when we went back to Wales for a little while, and then we went to Glastonbury to live. Yeah.
So coming back to London, how was that for you energetically?
Well,
Because
I went from Glastonbury, I went to Bath,
Yeah.
and I was there for 9 years. And coming back to London 2 years ago, I came back to London, and in many ways, London hasn't changed at all, and in many ways, it has. You know, and it is. It's energetically, it's frenetic in London. It's like, you know, it's all going on, you know. But it's great, you know. I mean, I laughed about it and said, you know, I was running away again, you know, running away to London at 54 instead of 14. So yeah.
Oh wow!
40 years later.
Yeah, and you're working in central London in Mysteries.
Yeah, I work in
and
Mysteries.
you do a lot of private consultations when you're not traveling to Hong Kong and working with your international clients.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, it's busy all the time, really, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's been really busy. I was really surprised actually, because I came to London not knowing, you know, how I would be received in London, because I'd been working. I was very busy in Bath, you know, and I do work internationally. But it's been great, you know, since I've been here. I met you more or less when I first got here, and you know,
and we have a friend in common, a priestess of the goddess, Lydia Light. Hello.
Hello, Lyd.
It's an instant bond.
Yeah.
So it's been lovely, isn't it, to sort of have you living so nearby as well.
Yeah, we're only around the corner.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. It's amazing. Yeah. It's amazing. So all we need to do is get Lydia down here.
Yeah.
Now we've said it on
We have a
camera.
drum
You've got to come.
session,
Yeah. At the end of the garden, round the ritual fire. Okay.
Yeah.
It's sorted.
Got to do it now.
So tell me a little bit about how you will celebrate Samhain or commemorate those that have passed, or what's your special kind of resonance over the next few days?
Yeah, I just tend to kind of, I go in quite deep into you know, thought about these people. Like I meditate, I light candles on the Samhain Eve. I light candles for the people that have passed over. There's been a lot of people in my life. My mother died when I was 17, and you know, it's a funny thing. You never quite get over the loss of the physical loss of somebody, but I know she's around, and I felt her around, and I, you know, Samhain, I feel spirit around me a lot. You know, I mean, I feel them around me all the time. I'm a medium, but I feel them around me very much with Samhain, and I just kind of stay at home really and go very quiet and light candles. Sometimes I go out and I'll go somewhere where there's a ritual happening, which is lovely as well, you know, but normally I'll just stay at home. And I've gone quite quiet. I've gone quite boring in my old age.
Oh, you're not boring at all.
I just kind of stay in.
What do you mean old age?
Well, yeah, getting there.
So if you've got any, if there are any tips or kind of techniques, if somebody was coming to you or they didn't have a chance to get to see you in the next couple of days, and they said, how can I connect to my ancestors? Have you got any kind of tips that they could sort of follow?
Breathe, really. Light a candle and sit in front of it and think about the person that you love, that you want to connect with. Maybe look at a picture of that person, put a picture with a candle of that person, dedicate the candle like you've done with these beautiful candles this evening. You know, and meditate, breathe into that person, breathe. Breath is very powerful, I believe. Yeah. And we tend to connect. Breath is life, so we tend to connect with spirit through the breath. We inspire. You know, we breathe in. So so breathe and just sit quietly and connect. Maybe pour a glass of wine or your favorite beverage, whatever, a cup of tea, you know, and just sit and say cheers and invite them in. Just invite them in. Everybody is psychic. Everybody has the ability to connect. Everybody does. We just get talked out of it. You know, people.
This is true, isn't it? This is true.
Yeah. It's. I was saying to the girls downstairs earlier. It's like the Logical song. Do you remember the Logical song of Supertramp?
No.
Where the lines were. I'm not going to sing it.
Yeah. Well, you see, you know, I think we've spared the viewers, all of us singing throughout the evening, singing and. Irish accents. We thought we'd just like spare you. You could just imagine that bit. Okay.
Yeah. No, you go off air.
Yeah.
The logical song, yeah. It's when I was young, life was so magical.
Oh yes.
And then they sent me away, taught me how to be logical.
I remember now.
Yeah.
I remember. Yes.
And that's kind of what happens.
Yes.
Because children grow up up until children get to about 6 or 7 years old. You look at kids in this. Kids see things. I saw things, you probably saw things. Kids do, and we put it down to imagination, or society puts it down to a child's imagination. When I was a child and I used to see spirit, I was always told, "Oh, Julie's got a terrible imagination," and which is an awful thing to say to a child, really.
Yes, especially to use the word terrible.
Terrible imagination, yeah, and that's even more frightening then, because you're seeing things. I wasn't afraid.
But you're
of the
being
fairies.
taught that it's wrong and bad.
Yeah. There's something wrong with you, and I did believe that for quite some time, and I think a lot of psychics, either working psychics or not, have felt like that in their lives, because we are told that we're weird. We come out with weird things, and like you see behind what people are saying as well, which is.
But I think I think we are weird.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we are.
And we like it. We like being nuts.
But weird with a Y, It's the way of the weird. It's the old way. It's the reclaiming of the magic, of the fairies, of the mythology that's behind all of that. We grow up thinking that's just legend and mythology.
It's not.
But it was the truth. It's the folklore, especially of these isles, the Celtic folklore, and these stories, these myths were the truth that was passed on just by word of mouth, and so for us we can kind of research things in books and on the internet and things like that, but maybe we're then discovering that what we can actually feel and bring that to life.
Much more importantly,
that's
we can feel it and bring it to life.
But we're doing it like kind of back to front, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're sort of seeing it as it's being sanitized by being called a myth or a legend, but in fact it's a truth.
Yeah.
It's actually a truth. And I think that's what's so interesting about esoteric work and magical work and psychic work that we are all involved with, and everyone tonight has been, in the fact that we're able to be drawn to different parts of this historical mythology, magic, and be able to resonate with it and bring it forward and make it part of our modern day lives without any real plan as to how we're going to bring that forward. But it's just
wonderful.
a kind of it's just a natural way of sharing and bringing it through, isn't it?
Yeah. It's wonderful, and it enriches my life unbelievably. I can't imagine not having magic in my life.
Yeah.
Not having that other dimension in my life. I would feel as if I was blind, deaf and dumb if I didn't. And I think it's such a tragedy that it's been given such bad press over the years. Yeah. And that people poo-poo it or investigate, look at it. The definition of insanity, I remember reading the definition of insanity is contempt prior to investigation.
Ah, yes.
And a lot of people do that.
It's easier, isn't it? It's quicker.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Yeah. No, I can't see that, feel it, And
it's also interesting in that the other world that we are involved with, which isn't specifically psychism and our magical world, which we're very much rooted in, is the mind-body-spirit industry, where there is so much accent, people coming forward who are amazing inspirational healers, who are self-development teachers, who are coming with this kind of new age approach, which in some respects would have been at odds with what we are talking about. But in fact, if you see beneath the labels, if you see past that, the terminology, it's old age. It's people coming forward with a very fresh version of magic and of healing and of don't be, trying to stop being ruled by ego, trying to stop being too judgmental, jumping to judgment, as you've just said, but to actually opening up the heart. I mean, a good friend of mine, Haroon Rabbani, is an incredibly inspirational teacher and healer, all about opening up the heart. Yeah. And so many others. I have a good friend, Muriel Mueller, who runs Moo Yoga, let's say it correctly, and she's all about opening the heart and incorporating that spirituality, but through yoga.
Yes.
You know, and then there's Joan Osborne, who's coming forward with her amazing healing, and she's just the most incredible healing, and she does this toning, she sort of chants these kind of angelic voices, and so many different modalities. And it's not as though these people sat there and said, come on, what's going to be the next money spinner, I'm going to be one of them, but they're actually coming under the banner of New Age and mind, body, spirit, but in fact they're bringing forward, tapping into ancient knowledge in the way that they know in things. And in my opinion, I feel it's triggering from past lives. I hope you're okay with that, guys. Triggering past lives, past knowledge, accessing this wisdom, and still bringing forward this beautiful, pure energy, not ruled by ego, not ruled by judgment.
Absolutely.
And every now and again, you know, if you do come across someone who is egotistical, it's just completely like the square peg in the round hole, doesn't fit, you know. But all of us are sort of coming forward with this energy, which is geared around this sense of wonderment of being able to help people and about inspire people and, you know, transform them. But you know, we're coming from ancient paths, modern paths, new paths that we haven't labelled yet or named, and yet we're really doing the same thing. And that's what's truly amazing about the mind, body, spirit industry right now, isn't it? We all get to meet together under the same roof,
and it really doesn't matter where you start. You know, you start with spirit, or you start with mind, you start with the body. You will end up with all three.
Yes,
if you investigate, if you go through it. You know, if you start with yoga, you're going to end up with your spirit getting enriched, with your mind getting enriched. It doesn't matter where you start, you know, but you will get it, And, you know, everything like the work of Louise Hay and all these different people that have, you know, come out with the mind-body connection and, you know, how every illness is really based on an emotion, starts from an emotion, you know. And I really believe that, and you can see it in people. You can see where they're holding energy. You know, with my work with rebirthing, that's quite amazing.
What is rebirthing for people who don't know what it is?
Rebirthing is a breathing process, and again, this comes back to the breath. It's you breathe in a certain way for an amount of time, usually about an hour. And what happens is the breath actually bypasses the conscious mind. The conscious mind is more like is the ego, where we're kind of, you know, we're facing the world, we're coming out into the world. Everything that's ever happened to us in our lives is stored somewhere in our body, in our psyche, in our subconscious. Well, the breath, when you breathe in this certain way, the breath will actually bypass the conscious mind, and it goes straight into the body. So what happens when a person is rebirthing, they will go back, they will go into memories. The reason it's called rebirthing is because it can actually take you back to the point of birth.
Wow.
Yeah, and sometimes before, and sometimes into past lives. But what will happen is whatever memory is actually stored that is presenting at that time, that is bothering you, will get you will get to that first, you know. So, and in it bypassing the conscious mind, you don't have to go through all this stuff like you have to go through with counselling. Not there's anything wrong with counselling; it's wonderful, but you don't have to go into it all and relive it, because it just you just go straight there and you release it.
And of course, being a psychic as well and a healer as well, you're able to guide people. Exactly to that right place.
And it's amazing the spirits that come in around a person when they're actually rebirthing. The things that I see happening around a person is quite amazing. And you see various people come in, and then, you know, you will talk to the person after it, and they will say that they could really feel maybe their dad there with them or whatever, and that's what you've seen while you're rebirthing.
Sounds amazing. I want to do it.
Oh, it's fascinating.
I want to do it. That's just incredible. I will. So if people do want to come and have a session with you, now there's so many different things you offer. You obviously the rebirthing process. You do regression as well, don't you? And you're healing, Reiki healing.
Yeah, and I'm a Reiki master. Yeah.
Reiki master healer, and you do attunements.
Yes, I do.
And also consultations. So where can they get in touch with you? How do they get in touch with you?
Well, they can. I'm in Mysteries every week. I work in Mysteries just on a Friday.
Yeah.
They can also find me through my website, which is ravenstarreadings.com.
Okay.
And if you Google me, like
just Google me.
You'll find me. I have a Facebook page as well, Julie Cook Ravenstar.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of ways to find me.
Oh, that's just amazing. I mean, thank you so much for coming in
Thank
and
you.
celebrating this time, just this very powerful week in between the supermoon and Samhain. Thank you so much for being a part of it. You're sort of triggering so much insight in me, even as I talk with you and hear you kind of sharing your wisdom. It's just amazing. And we've had all of the Celtic witches in the house tonight, you know. Don't say we don't give you what you want at Halloween, at Samhain, especially all of you over there in the States that are watching you. And we've got all your Celts in the house. And there's me, I'm a Celtic mongrel too, because I've got Scottish, Irish. Yeah, I'm Scottish, Irish, English and French and Italian.
Wow.
And, you know, I like to enjoy the cuisine of all of them. It would be rude not to, wouldn't it? Really?
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us with our studio guest. Now, it's only 10 to 11 right now, and what we're going to do is we're going to take some time out and celebrate, but you're not going to have be left without any entertainment, because we've got a lot of programs to show you now. We've got some short films that we're going to show you. We've got the book trailers for Coin for the Ferryman by Jamal Difiosa and featuring Carrigan Griffith, and over from Salem, that came over to London during July, and that was lovely for a book launch at Treadwell's. I was so pleased to meet them and to have the opportunity to film them. We've also got the Magonia Stone book trail that you've seen a couple of times already this evening, which is the trail that we put together just when Marcus Wolfson, that was the pen name of Mark McCann, was sort of very close to the end of his life, and I was able to put that together for him while he was in the hospice, and so that's very close to our heart. We've also got Della Farron telling you about Haunted Highgate, her incredible book that she's brought out with the most beautiful, exquisite research into the haunted areas of Highgate, things that haven't ever been uncovered before. We've also got Melissa Harrington speaking on the goddess Hecate at the Hecate Symposium, which was held in Glastonbury in 2014. So if you didn't manage to make it down to Glastonbury for the Hecate Symposium, and I know, you know, it was sold out, Melissa Harrington is talking about the goddess Hecate with the most incredible, interesting and informative lecture. We have The Witch's Coven, which is a documentary we made last autumn and screened for the first time last Samhain. And this is a documentary that's made about an area of Queenswoods, which is just adjacent to where we are here in the studio in Highgate in North London. And this features Sarita de Esther, High Priestess. We also have Ken Rees, and we have Gareth Medway. And we're all talking, and I think that's our main people in that one. We're talking about the magical history of this Witches' Coven area, because it's been very popular with witches and druids for decades, and it's been one of the most magical spots in London, because there aren't many forests in London, understandably, but this is, you know, the last remnants of the Middlesex forest, and it has a lot of powerful energy, so it's a lovely little film for you to watch there. And we also have Hecate Rising, which is an older film that we made many years ago in that very same circle in Queenswoods, and it was a Pagan Federation open ritual that I put on with the help of many people from the pagan community. We dressed up, it was theatrical, we had the witches from Macbeth, we had the Mexican Day of the Dead, we had Baron Sunday, and we had Papa Legba. Why not? You know, there was rum. They were happy, and we had a fantastic time, and I made a film of this ritual, and it was quite a few years ago now, but at this time of year it's a lovely film to watch. And we also have Francesca MacDonald talking about Tales of Haunted Scotland. So we have all of these films to come over the next hour or so don't go anywhere, stay tuned to Oracle TV. But meanwhile, from myself, from Julie Cook, we want to say goodnight, and I want to say a huge thank you also to Cleo Kay, to TJ Higgs and to Liz King for coming into the studio tonight, and most of all, thank all of you for joining us this evening. Don't go anywhere, because we've got a lot of films coming up for you, and stay tuned. Watch us on Facebook, facebook.com/Oracle Television, and our website oracletelevision.com. Sign up to our newsletters. Just stay in touch. Let us know what you think. What would you like to see? And we'll see you soon.